guys, I'm here with Mark,
I'm Mark.
and Mark just finished doing DCP.
Which is the Disney College Program, if you didn't know, the little lingo.
Yep, so we're going to go ahead and do a little interview about his application process as well as his experience doing the program. First, we'll go through the basics, talk about when your program was.
Okay, so my program was originally from January 16th of 2018 to May 17th. And then after that point, I decided to extend through the summer, so I ended up staying until July 26th. So I was there for almost a full, or I guess over 7 months. So.
And how did you first apply for the program?
I first applied, so this was actually my third time applying. I had applied the 2 semesters previously, and I got in both times, but like schedule-wise, it didn't really work out. And this was the role that I really, really wanted, so this was the one I accepted. So for the application, you start out and you just do basically a normal application where you submit stuff from your resume, previous job experience, and then just like answer some basic questions about yourself. So that's like a basic application. From that pool, you find out within like 24 to 48 hours whether or not they pick you to move on to the next round, which is what's called a web-based interview. And what that is just like giving you scenarios of like, how would you handle this situation, or do you consider yourself a positive person, stuff like that. And it's completely computer done. You basically just answer the questions as to what you personally believe, and then it'll tell you immediately after whether or not you get to move on to the third round of interviews, which is over the phone, where you're talking with an actual recruiter person. And with them, you basically are they're going to talk to you specifically about who you are, why you want to work for the company, what your different role choices that you would want to do are, some of your previous experience, whether or not you've lived with people. So basically that's like a 30-minute interview covering everything that you kind of need to know about the program in general, and then you have the opportunity to ask them questions. With that part, they typically ask you more specific toward the role that they want you, that you're most likely going to get. So for me, they asked me stuff about vacation planning, which surprised that was my role. And they basically asked, like, have you worked with a cash register before? What experience have you had with like handling difficult guest situations, all that type of stuff. And vacation planner is kind of different, so that's going to be different based off what your role is. But yeah, those were the application processes. And then basically 2 or so weeks after that, I got my notice of acceptance. So basically the entire process took like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks total.
Okay, so you had your first interview, which is your basic resume, sending them your information. Your second interview was basically a personality test, and then your third interview was that over the web, you said?
It was over the phone. So basically one of the recruiters calls, you like schedule an appointment, they call, and then it's like a 30-minute interview where you're talking to the person like over the phone. So yeah.
Okay. And what was one question from that they asked that people may not prepare themselves for, or you weren't quite prepared for?
It's been like a year. I have to think about this. Let me think. I think one of them that like, I don't know why it surprised me because it's very basic, but like, why do you want to work for Disney? Because it's like something that's very obvious and any company would ask you that, but it's just like something that you don't really sit there and like think to yourself, this is why I want to work there. Like instead of just experiencing it as a guest, this is why I want to be there and be like making the magic and being part of it. So I think that that's something I hadn't really considered beforehand going into it. And then when she like asked me, it kind of like threw me off. I'm just like, well, why do I? And it was like an introspective thing on the spot. So I think that was like cool and something I should have expected, but I didn't really.
Good answer. So talk a little bit more about your position. I know you said you were in vacation planning.
So I was in vacation planning. It's basically I worked in the ticket booth a lot of the time. Sometimes I worked like backstage doing stuff. So it really depended based on the day. So you can work on like the iPad selling tickets in the ticket booths. We deal with annual passes. We have certain like sales goals and stuff we're expected to meet based off like what types of tickets and stuff we sell. We're expected to like deal with some guest situations. Basically just have an overall knowledge of the company, all the different product knowledge aspects of the different parks and stuff like that, and all the ticketing processes and stuff like that. So it was like really cool, really different from what I expected, but I really enjoyed it because you're like basically you're just working with the guests to figure out what's best for them, and that's what I really enjoyed about it.
Okay, and you did the DCP housing as well, right?
Yes, I did.
What was that like?
Well, CP housing is interesting. Everybody has a different experience. So there are 4 basic CP housing complexes. They're all apartment complexes. You have the Chatham Square, Patterson Court, the Commons, which is like the bougie fancy one, and then Vista Way, which is notorious for being Vistaway and being disgusting, and that's where all the parties happen. From January to May, I was in Chatham. We had an 8-person apartment. I had one roommate in my room, and we had like a Jack and Jill bathroom with 2 other guys. And then we had like a common area. We had 2 refrigerators, another bathroom in the middle, and then another area of 4 on the other side of the apartment. So we had the 8 of us in there. Our apartment had a lot of issues. We had like toilets flooding all the time. We had like actual flooding all the time. We had ant infestation. So pretty much everything that could go wrong did go wrong. But we were on the first floor, so it was nice moving in, because when I extended my college program, it was from May until July, and that's when we moved into a 4-person commons apartment with like 3 of my really good friends. And we were on the second floor, so moving was a challenge, but that's like the nice one because you have the washer and dryer in the building. But CP housing, that's just like my personal experience, but it's cool because you kind of get the whole aspect where you get to meet all these different people from around the world, which I really, really wanted from the start. You do have to share a room, as I said before, but that's like it's like part of the process, and I appreciate that. And then like for the people that don't have cars, a couple of my roommates didn't. They also have the option to take the Transtar busing, which takes them to work and all that stuff, and to the parks if they want to. So that's kind of like an overview of CP housing. Not the worst thing in the world. The rent was, you do have to pay rent. So for my 8-person apartment, I paid $116 a week, which is like $464 a month. And then when we moved into our 4-person commons with the washer and dryer, that was a lot nicer. That bumped up to $130, which I was more than happy to pay. So.
And that came out of your paycheck
Yes.
for Disney, correct?
Mm-hmm. So every week they would take that out of your paycheck. So what you did receive was after taxes and after your rent was taken out. And actually, my last paycheck, I didn't work enough shifts to cover my rent. So when I go back to Disney, if I ever go back to the company, I have to finish paying that off my first paycheck.
Kind of a more fun question, being right there and being with all these people who now have main gate passes, how often did you find yourself in the parks outside of working hours?
So much less than you'd think, because like everybody, when they look at Disney college program, it's like, oh, you're gonna go to the parks every day, but you're still working 40 to 60 hours a week, sometimes more than that, so you're kind of tired after you get off. And my role with vacation planning is so different than everybody else's. We worked mornings, and most other CPs worked at night. So basically, the friends that I could go to the parks with, unless like our off days coincided, were only my vacation planning friends, because most roles are night roles. But we would go 3 or 4 times a week. I mean, it really just depended on the week, the season, like how hot it was. The thing I really took advantage of was the water parks, because I'd never been there before, and I love a good water park, and the Disney water parks are great, and you also get free access to those most days of the year, so that was really cool. But yeah, probably 3 or 4 days a week.
Cool. What were some things or one thing that you wish you had known before doing the program?
Something I wish I'd known before doing the program. I think I didn't really get a sense of how much you're going to work. Because you watch, like, I was a big fan of, like, the DCP YouTubers, stuff like that, and you watch them, and it's just like, oh, they're in the parks having fun, like, all this crazy stuff's happening, but at the same time, like, it has to work out very well for that. I was lucky because a lot of my friends had similar shifts to me within my role, but, like, it has to work out well for that because, like, your schedules could be completely different. You could not like your roommates, but I think the fact that you're working 40 to 60 hours a week and you're so exhausted, but you still want to be able to, like, on your 1 or 2 off days a week, go do your laundry, go to the grocery store, and then have time for the parks. I think just balancing all that was a big thing that, like, you have to factor in before you start doing it.
And do you have any memories or a particular favorite memory that you'd like to share from doing this?
I have so many incredible memories. I love all the people I met. I met some of my best friends in the world. But I think, honestly, my favorite memory would, I don't know, it's just like the small moments. I know it's super cheesy, but like the little moments when it's like 2 in the morning, you should be asleep because you have a shift at 7 a.m. the next day, but like all your roommates are up and you're just like hanging out and talking, and it's not like anything glamorous, but that's like the little things that just like made up the whole like entire program. My one other memory I really want to talk about from a work perspective, something you get to do as a Disney cast member is these magical moments, which is like special things that you can do just to make somebody's day a little bit better. I know I've gotten plenty of my own, and I'm sure you've gotten a ton of yours, like when you're in the parks. But one specific one that I got to do that I just kind of felt inclined to do, like they give you the power to just do it if you want to, is I had these really cool guests. They were up at my window. They were a military family. I was helping them convert their tickets, get everything figured out. And then we were like talking, we were having fun. They were like kind of like making fun of me. I can't remember why, but then the lady who was working in the booth next to me was also like jabbing at me too, and it was just like a good little interaction. So at the end of it, after I had talked to them and figured everything out for them, it was like 20 minutes in, and it was crazy. And I was like, hey, you guys have been amazing. You've really made my day. So I'm going to give you this fast pass. You can do any ride you guys want. And they literally, like, they tried to pay me. They were like, we need to tip you. We need to cover you for this. I'm just like, no, like, it's something I want to do because, like, I really enjoyed this interaction. It's really helped me out today. And the mom started crying, and she's like, this is like a memorial trip. The grandfather just passed away, or the father, I can't remember exactly what happened, but one of them had passed away in the military, and they were doing like a memorial trip in honor of him. So I just thought that was a really cool thing, that like one little thing like that where I just hand them a piece of paper is gonna like make their entire trip, and I thought that was really cool. So that's like one thing that's just like the little moments in life.
That's awesome. So, what are some of your takeaways from doing the Disney College program?
Takeaways. So some of the takeaways from doing the program, definitely be on time and be committed to what you're doing. Like, even if it's not the most glamorous of jobs in the world, what you're doing is important. You're there for a reason, especially working at Disney. Like, everybody's part of the show, and like they emphasize that so much. But like, make sure that you're invested into whatever you're doing. Make sure you're passionate about what you're doing. And I think just like one of my biggest things was, don't take everything so seriously. Make sure you're having fun in whatever you're doing, because like otherwise you're not really there for the right reason. And so every day I would just go in and I would start with like hopefulness or whatever, and I would just have fun and try to find something that I enjoyed to take out of each day. And I thought that was a really cool thing that you hear from people who are older than you all the time, but you can just take away from. So that was cool too.
Cool. Would you do it again?
Would I do it again? The CP? I think I would do the CP again, but not after I graduated. I think since I've already done it, I've had that experience, and then I would go for a professional internship, which is what I'm trying to do starting over the summer. So if Disney's watching, hire me. But I would absolutely 150% encourage anyone to do the CP. I would not live in CP housing again. The CP housing, you get inspected based on your room cleanliness like twice over your time, and you can like potentially like get fined and stuff for that. And I'm not clean, so that was an issue. But the CP in general, 100% I would do again. It was the best thing like of my life, and I loved every minute of it. So definitely, I'd encourage it to anybody who's considered doing it. And yeah.
And is there anything that you disliked about doing the program that you may not have already hit already?
Stuff I dislike, definitely CP housing rules. I know I didn't really touch on this earlier, but and I'm not trying to bash like CP housing. I understand why they did it, but you had to like be inspected twice a semester, and they were like very critical of like how clean your stuff was. And then you weren't allowed to have guests over from other complexes past 2 a.m. So like if you were like even just trying to drop somebody off after like a really late shift or something like that, they would not let you into somebody else's complex if it was past that time. So those are just the little things. I don't know. I genuinely just enjoyed my job. I enjoyed my work. I did take classes, which I haven't really touched on. So the class that I took was hospitality management, which I just didn't think was all that cool, but I talked to one of the ladies on the phone, and I know this doesn't really answer your question at all, but it's fine. And she basically told me that it was just an overview of the company, all the processes. We basically got to like make our own mini Disney World as part of our group project and present it at the end. So it was just really cool getting that inside view from like people who have worked with the company for 30 years on how everything runs and day-to-day operations and stuff like that. So that was cool. But honestly, can't complain about the CP. It was like the best thing ever. I loved it.
Okay, and obviously you liked it so much that you had extended. Would you talk a little bit more about how you went about extending it for people that may be interested?
Absolutely. So if you're looking to extend your CP, it really depends on the role that you're doing, but I think it was around March or so, after I started in January, they sent out an email. They were like, "You having fun? How about you have some more fun and stay till July?" So I was just like, I kind of had been planning on staying the entire time. I had applied for other internships and stuff, which I had gotten, but I decided I was having like such a good time at the CP, and that's what I wanted to do ultimately, is go back to Disney. So that's really where I wanted to stay, was at Disney. So I applied, and it's basically a simple application similar to what you do to get in. Besides the web-based and the phone interview, you just send in your information, some just stuff about what you've been doing and why you want to extend. A majority of the time for people in my role, you do get extended if you ask for it. The only role that I know that is hard to get extended is for character performer, because there are a lot of people that are like applying for it and are doing it, so it's more like selective. But yeah, if you want to extend, and one of my roommates actually extended. He was there until May. He extended until July, and he just extended again until January. So he's doing a full year and then going back to Puerto Rico. So yeah.
Wow. Anything else that you think it would be important for people to know? Anything else you just want to talk about from the program?
Sure. I've covered a little bit about education. You have the option of taking classes. I got 12 college credits for doing that, like that go toward my school, which were awesome because they just transferred in pretty easily. I've talked about the working. Going to the parks is fun. I just want to mention that really quick is that when you go to the parks, it's just fun because you know people in every park that are working, so you can kind of like go up and bother them and like they can like talk to you and stuff like that. And it's just like that fun little extra bit where you're just like going to visit your friends instead of like just going for the park aspect. And I thought that was cool. Seeing all the backstage stuff was really cool. I can't really talk too much about that like online, but that was always so cool to just like see and learn all that stuff. And I don't know, just the college program was the best thing I've ever done. If you're considering doing it, please go ahead and apply at least, see what you get. There's so many different types of roles and stuff, so pretty much anything you're interested in, there's definitely something for you. So definitely highly encourage it. And vacation planning was the best.
Alright, anything else?
I think I'm good.
Alright guys, that'll finish us off. Thanks Mark for coming and letting us interview you about the Disney College program.
Thanks for having me, Lee.
And thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe in all of our links and doodads below. And thanks for watching.